Hello, beautiful artisans. We have like 75-degree weather today. It is hot here. For us in Vermont, this is hot. This is gorgeous, but it kind of feels like summer all over again. And welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, we recycle. We create with all recycled fabrics, materials, and supplies, and it's our way to give our beautiful earth a little hug and extend the life of a fabric or material or supply. So if jump on board, it's free, and I love your suggestions and ideas. And if you're coming back, thank you. I love your beautiful suggestions. We had some dynamite suggestions lately, and one of them is, as you know, is the lampshades, like, upcycling. So we're going to get more into that project and other upcycling projects too, because I also paint and draw. So I was remembering that many, many, many years ago, I was asked to paint some chairs, and I put some deco designs onto these chairs, and the whole set sold based on the beautiful designs of the chairs that I painted. So maybe we do some of that too as we get towards the spring. But the lampshades, definitely, we're gonna be focusing on those in November. So for the rest of this month, we'll be focusing on the YoYo quilt today. We'll be focusing on that. That's like nearly done. And I'm going to show you, I came up, now I didn't come up with this. This is an upcycled project. It's repurposing something, and you're going to love it. So I'm going to show you that in a moment, but I give you update, and then we're going to be also focusing on these other projects, my coin bags and some more key fobs. But I also had a vision, an idea, vision I could see. A really cutesy, what do you call it? Bandana for a dog. Now I was crocheting some of these. I have about a half a dozen made, but I had another idea for crocheting in a different fabric, and I want to share that with you also this month. And yes, definitely our little mini ornaments, or Christmas ornaments, our birds. Yeah. So we've got a lot to do. And so with that, I do have my coffee. I may need it. So first I want to show you this. Oh, here it is. So I may have shown you this before. This is pillowcase. And I was talking to you about this. It's big. Now this and the other two, I think I got like 3 for like $1.50 or something. They're stained. There's some discoloration for some reason on these. I don't know what it is. I get the idea that they had these pillows, like they had pillows, and the pillows must have been set against some kind of furniture where the color, that's what I'm thinking, of the furniture came off. So these are not, and the other thing about these, even though they're pillowcases with such a strong fabric. They're stipple stitching, so you have the embroidery. They're lovely. And but they're heavy, and they're too coarse for anybody to put their head down and sleep on. So they're more of a decorative type of pillow. Now, with that said, they're made very well. I was taking a very good look at the hemming, and I love it. So I was thinking, I'm like, wait a minute, these look the same size of my little lap blankets that I have been making. So, I showed you like this. These go perfectly. They go perfectly for someone who's sitting a lot. These are lovely. And they're even just as lovely if you're using them for home decor, to go on the wall, to go on the table. These are lovely. And I'm going to tell you, I love the size because and I'm staying with that size. Someone wanted me, and yes, I can make larger ones, of course, but this size, there's just something about it. You can hold it easily, and it's so versatile. There's so many things you can do with it. Now, with that said, I went back and forth, kind of playing around with this. With the, okay, if I put my yo-yos, and I'm going to show you all the yo-yos, and we're going to start sewing them on today. But I'm going to put my coffee over here because we don't want any stains on this. So anyway, what I did, I'm just going to take this. I took a piece of flannel, and I'm just going to put this down so you can see. And I tucked it in. I tucked it in here in the pillowcase. And I turned the pillowcase so that, I'm going to be sewing over here. So what this does when you put something in there like that, it separates the back from the front. And what I wanted to do was just see, like, I know I can take a yo-yo, fabric yo-yo, and sew it right on there, no problem. And because I have separated I have already separated this, it's nothing for me to do a little pinch and then to just sew the yo-yo on. Now, however, with that said, that is totally fine. But then you get to your second yo-yo, your third yo-yo, and this and that, and then you get your little yo-yos. So the logistics and the ergonomics of it would be totally possible. Absolutely. Will you get better at it the more you go? Absolutely. Your stitches will not show in the back. And voila, you have all of your yo-yos here. However, with that said, it will take you a little more work. So with that, I decided, because this is what I was going to do. I was going to do it that way and then take the back. And so take this out. So then take the back and then sew it. Now, if I did do it that way, so this closed, because yes, this was a pillowcase. If I did it that way, I would have made the sewing last. I wouldn't have done it first. And the reason for that is I know from experience that when you do something like this, the tension is going to be a little different. So because of that, you may end up needing a middle piece there, or it may be totally fine, or it may separate a little. You don't know. So I didn't want to risk sewing the middle up first and then putting my yo-yos on. So, okay, that's just one idea. So this is a lovely, lovely pillowcase. But it's definitely more of a decorative piece. So using this type of pillowcase, and wanting to upcycle it and repurpose it, because that's what we're doing. We're upcycling it and we're repurposing it. So this is what I did. That type of pillowcase, I took the backing off. Okay? So the backing is off. And I have my hemmed, every single side is still hemmed perfectly. The reason is I cut it just about 1/8 of an inch away from the hem. So I didn't want to touch any of the stitching. So then when I come back after I put my yo-yos on, and we're going to put yo-yos on today, and I have my backing. So let's say the yo-yos are on and I have my backing. What I want to do is either use this red for my backing. So I would simply do a back to back like this, like that. And I would keep my stitching right on the hem. And you can do another row, and I might do that. I think that would be wise. Do one row of stitching on the hem, and then do one right below the hem. but that's just a lovely, that works totally fine. And or the other one I was thinking of was this one, which is even a lighter type of fabric, much lighter. But look, this one has an a margin, it has an edging there that, again, it's very light, so it won't create more of heavy layer like that. And then have this for the backing. So I'm thinking either or, one of those two. So yes, the backing, we can trim it a little bit more before we put on anything. Like, we can trim this a little bit more and just get it nice and trimmed. There's the overlapping here of the pillowcase, and that makes a little bit, but it's not so much that it's not so significant that, especially with a lap blanket or a table piece, it's going to obscure your beautiful design. So with that, now we have a piece where we have very strong hems. So with that, I'm going to put this down. Now you're going to notice here the stain, there's some kind of discoloration, as I was pointing out. I don't know if you can see it, but it's all up through. This cannot be used as is. It just cannot. So this will all be covered. These are washed, so these are totally fine, but that is not coming out. So what we're going to do first, I'll show you the yo-yos. And for those of you who are not used to or familiar with the fabric yo-yos, this is the size circle, and you can get a little piece of equipment that helps you make a fabric yo-yos, or you can simply stitch them. And I have videos out there showing you how to stitch, or we can do another video if any of you need me to do another video. But the gist of it is this: you have a 14-inch circle, and when you sew this circle, you you just sew the little edges, and you do little running stitch all the way, and you keep folding and stitching and folding and stitching, and as you're pulling your running thread through, it is gathering like that, and you see it start coming together. So when it's a 14-inch like this, the yo-yo is going to come out about 7-inch diameter. When it's about 8-inch, like these, the yo-yo, after it's all sewn, will come out about 4-inch diameter. So these are some of the selected fabrics I'm working with. All those were at the gift shop for $1, like a roll. I mean, it was crazy, right? I did a video on it. But what we're going to do is lay out the yo-yos, and I have a lot of them, and that nearly bring this piece to be finished. So, however, I need to do more small ones, but I'm going to show you how to get this effect, because this is what we did with the Halloween one. I love this. I'm going to do like this again. Now, when you do a staggering effect like that, you can do anything you want with that design. It does not have to be a certain way. It can be the way you want. If you want to overlap one yo-yo to another, or underlap it, or whatever, and then the next one you want to underlap or overlap, that's how I did it. I didn't do like, oh, it's got to be perfect like this. I didn't do it. I could do it that way, and that would be just equally as beautiful. But anyway, let's lay these out and see how far we get. Oh, and before we even start that, I do need to say, the remnants from this piece being cut. Let me just put this over to the side for a moment. This is one remnant. Now check this out. This is one remnant. Look, you see this top piece here? this is perfect for, I'm just going to fold this like this for a moment. I'm just going to fold that because this is what I would normally do is fold it like that. And then what I want to do is cut this straight down. Some of you might know what I'm going to be using this for. So I can get 3 out of that. Look, this is a perfect little look. Coin bag. Now, am I going to leave it like this? No, because I have the discoloration on it. And what up here, I have the more discoloration. So what I want to do is put some fabrics on it, you know, Boro, Sashiko, maybe a little heart, little star, and kind of especially, and this is what Boro was is so infamous for is, yes, a stain, a rip, a tear, right? Something that's not right on that fabric. You take a little piece and you cover it. Look, I could even take this. I was looking at this earlier. It just kind of fell like that. And I was thinking, look how adorable that is. That's a piece of twine with a couple of stitches in there and maybe make a little bow. That's a minimalist. That's just precious. I love it. Okay, can't stand it. Now this is the other piece from it, and this is larger. But again, I can fold that in half, or let's see if I fold it in thirds. It's a little larger. So, but yeah, I can definitely do the thirds, and I can do it in half like that. So I can get smaller little amulets maybe out of this. So anyway, I'm totally keeping those. So we'll get back to this. And so we'll get back to this, put those over there, and we'll start laying out the yo-yos now. So I'm going to put this down. And so the way, now I don't know, I have to make sure before I start sewing to show you is exactly where I want these. But I do know right off the bat, I love this. I don't know why I totally love this one, but that's going to go in the corner. So, let's see here. I may have to put this up farther. I don't know if we can really get this whole thing up on the table here, but here's the first yo-yo. And I feel like the next one would be green. And you see we overlap. We want to overlap this just a tad, like that. Now, yeah, and you want to cover your corner, overlap it just a tad. Now, these are the designs that I have of these yo-yos cut out. These are the designs. There's about 5 of them. So, but look, this whole piece is going to be completely covered. So it's being upcycled and repurposed. So let's see, there's 5. Now, they fit beautifully. And let me see if I move that over a tiny bit. I want to make sure both my corners are covered. So this one, my corner is covered, lovely. And then I come, and I'm just going to put some pins in here to hold this, and that's. And I don't like to put the pins in too many because I tend to move them. But let me show you here. Yeah. So this one is covering the corner too. Okay, so that's the first row. Now, when we lay these out, it's very telling because this is where I find out, do I have enough designs or do I need more designs added? So, and that's the big, yeah, that's the big takeaway is you've got to figure out because look, right now I just came across this one. I can just repeat. Now that's another thing. We could do something like that. We could do a whole row of just these. I really do like the mixing up. I just love the mixing up. So, okay, so there's the second row. Now, if you notice, these are nice small space between them. Now, when you lay your yo-yos down, the one thing that you want to use as a guide, and I'm going to double check this right now before we do the next row. We'll double check it together. We want to make sure our center, our circles are lined up. Super important. They're lined up going this way. They're lined up going down. Okay, so across. So this one, I'm going to move it down a little bit. This one across, coming down. That's lovely. Now you're like, okay, well, do you have to overlap or underlap? And like I said, no, you do not. You do not have to do the same type of over or underlap. Now this one is a little high. You see it? It's a little high. Now I can see that because it's not even lining up with my center down here. So this is very important to always check that and take your yo-yo, kind of, get the circle there in the center, get the center in the center basically. And oh, that's much better. See, and I even got more volume from the yo-yo. So I love that. So here, this is the end piece. Let me put these up here. So now we lay this out like that. Okay. Making sure our centers are centered. And we're also checking, because these are our edge pieces, that they're over the edge. Now, why? You don't have to have them over the edge, but if you do have them over the edge, they give a little scalloped effect, which is really cute. So now, okay, so we got 2 rows down. I feel really good about these rows. I feel like I can do some stitching for you, and I just want to pin these so they stay. And as I'm working, I'm going to work on this one. But first, before we even do that, I want to show you what this design thus far would look like with the little yo-yos in the centers, because they're just precious. So I just love this. I mean, any one of these projects, when I sit down to work, I could just work on it like, all day, every day. But I go to the other projects because I just feel there's so many different things we can make with our scrap fabrics. Okay. So those are laid down. Those are gorgeous. This pops. And I just want to put this up here for a moment. Now, look here. You're probably saying, Carmella, you didn't even tell us the size. Okay. This is, I think it's 27. It's 27. I want to say by 22. Yeah. 22 and a half. And that is the same size as the Halloween lap blanket yo-yo quilt that we did. So now this is how many I have. Now you're gonna, whoops, I dropped one. Okay. So let's do the next row and just see kind of where it takes us here. We're going to put this one over. No. See, this is the thing. What I might end up doing, because I'm noticing, and I noticed this with the other one, I have 5 different designs. That's perfect. Okay, I'm going across, and I have a different design every time I go across. But the thing of it is, it's nice if you have 6 instead of just 5, because it gives you so much more variety. Now I only have 1 row left, and that would be down here. And look, I only need 3 more yo-yos. So this is going to be totally done this weekend. But with that said, what I'm going to do is take this row up, And these 2 rows right here, I'm going to leave like that. We're just going to stitch this one. I want to show you how it looks, and I want to show you the tiny little yo-yos. I need more of these. I have a good amount. But I need more diversity of these because see, you can see it's the same fabrics. I need more diversity. So that's something I have to work on, is to get more of these. I don't know where my other ones are. Oh, here, one fell. I guess I lost one there. And we'll put that there so it pops. Because this right here, for me anyway, this is what I want. I'm going to hold that up. You see this right here? That pops. That's a different design than this, and this. Okay? This pops because it's a different design. So that's, for me, what I want to do. Now, I don't want to lay them down like this, and the little one is the same as that one. Now, is that the end of the world? No, because we're working with scrap fabrics. We're doing a good deed, and we're creating something that's functional. So it's totally okay if your pattern does repeat. Now, because I have I have a good amount of these. I'm probably I only need a few more. So and I'll show you when the piece is just about done what those added pieces, those added little yo-yos were. So with that, I'm super happy with this. So what I want to do though is okay, so a couple things I don't want to do is I do not want to go in and say, okay, I love that. I'm leaving that. I'm going to pin it. I'm going to sew it, because I'm not. Okay, I'm not. What I am going to do first is essentially I'm sewing every single one of my large yo-yos down first. And you're probably saying, well, Carmella, what are you doing that for? Because you're going to go back in, and where you lay this one, for example, where I lay this one, I'm going to be repeating a stitch. So now with that, it's possible that something like that happens. However, it's not highly probable. And this is the reason. Here's your centerpiece, your center of your yo-yo. You're going to put a stitch up here. It's not going to be on the end, right, of your yo-yo. You're gonna bring it to your hem, at least for your first row. Anything that's touching a hem, you want to make sure you put a tie knot there. And then you're going to put one over here, and you're going to use using your center to come nice and straight. Stay straight with your little center pieces and put your little tie knots. And then you're coming down. So you're not coming over here on your yo-yo. Okay, you're not unless you want to, because get all of these secure. Tie knot here, tie knot here, tie knot here, tie knot here, one in the middle. And we're going to do one right now. But after you put them all down, and yes, when you go down this way, you're going down this way, or you're going over this way, you're catching 2 yo-yos at once in that way. So I'm going to show you. So I do the large yo-yos first. Okay, there was not much yarn, not much thread here. That's all right. We'll use this. So now, because I took the backing off, I can go straight through and work comfortably, go straight through to make my little tie knots. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to have to get more thread there. And so I'm going to show you, because for each of your yo-yos, technically, you want 5 tie knots. So I tie this 2 times, and sometimes 3. And I like to, many times I'll twist it this way. I didn't make this long enough for me to do that comfortably, but I like to twist it and and tie it, because that way it's super strong. Okay. And then I trim them later. So with that, now also the other thing that's important is this is a little sharp, and you do need a little bit of sharp to go through your fabric. If it's too blunt, I mean, this is sharp and this is huge. You don't need it. You don't need a darning needle that big. An embroidery needle like this will do. So let's get our yarn or thread, whatever if you have yarn, yes, you can use yarn. Absolutely. You can use floss if you want, because that's going to be a little bit wider and flatter, and it's actually going to show up a little bit better. You can use a different technique of your tie knot if you want. I'm doubling this. That's all I'm doing, and making sure, I got some evenness there. I come in at the top. Now with this, when I do my back to back, I'm going to be working right on my hem. So right now, when I secure my yo-yo, I'm being very conscious right now. I'm not going through this hem. I don't want to. I could, but I'm not going to. I'm going to come in just below it. And that is secure in itself. You don't need, and you want to make sure you're staying even with your knot here. So come right up here and just do another little tie knot like that. Now look, this came out a little uneven, so I'm just going to pull it straight through, and I'm going to do that again and make it a little smaller. And that's the thing. If you're pulling it through, check it out. If it's not even, you can just pull it all the way through and do it again, just like I did. And then just cut it and then tie. And the way I do it is, this is how I do it. Super simple. Tie it once. I twist the strands and then I do another tie. Okay, like that. And I can trim these as I go along. And like I said, you can play around with the thread. So, okay, so now over here, okay, you can see I've got both yo-yos. Now, I want to make sure, again, and I emphasize this because it's super simple to be a tad up, to be a tad down. Pay attention to your centers, and then do your little tie knot in parallel to your centers. And if this eye is too large, it will be difficult pulling it through. Okay. Now I'm going to run out of thread. And the reason is I'm kind of exaggerating, but the amount of thread, but I'm only doing it because I'm demonstrating to you. I want you to be able to see it. Okay. So I've got 1, 2, and I need 2 more here. And so I'm going to, and you can see when you have a nice large eye that it's easier to thread. It's just much easier to thread the needle, and you can move right along. Now, I typically, when I'm finishing up a quilt and I'm putting the little ones on, a lot of times I'll thread 3 needles and just do one boom, boom, boom after the other. I just like doing it that way. I'm not trying to be super quick. Again, so now we're going down and we're saying, okay, let's stay even with our centers. And we'll take a little look under here. Is this pulled up too far? I feel like it is just a little bit. I'm going to pull this down a little bit, but I want to cover my outside there. So that's good. And now I'm going to make sure I catch both of my yo-yos and pull this through. There. This is a lovely. Now, these are uneven, so which is totally fine because this thread totally moves. So you can pull it like that and then pull it through a little bit more. And there we go. So this is coming out absolutely beautiful. Now, am I going to sew the whole thing? I'm not, because, and this is the reason, I'm going to sew this one again. If, right now, because I need 3 more yo-yos and I need a variety of my smaller, I might end up changing this design. This one I totally know I want in place. I'm going to leave it. If worse comes to worse, I come in the back, I do a little snip of the running stitch, boom, that's it, done. I take it off and I place it somewhere else. Now on this side, because you have your hem and you have your yo-yo scalloping a little bit over the edge, again, you want to be aware. Stay aligned with your center, come over, and no, are you going to have the exact same width of these? No. But again, this is your border, and you can either do one or two things. You can hide your stitch, or you can show your stitch. And I choose to just put it through. If it shows, it shows. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I think it's just a signature of how the piece is made, authentically handmade. And so I leave it and tie it. Now, look, it's going to end up under a fold as it is, but that's okay. And I'm going to trim this. And I'm going to trim. I don't typically trim these as I go along, but I just show you about the width. So look at that. Is that just too gosh darn cute? Okay, but you see how it catches your next yo-yo. So the next yo-yo, same thing, and you go straight across. And then you come back and start adding your little yo-yos. And hopefully I get more of a variety so we're not having the same design. So this is going to be absolutely beautiful. And I'm going to tell you, I, as you know, work on a lot of different projects, so I'm jumping back and forth. That's the only reason some of these take a long time. However, with the exception of Boro inspired and Kawandi inspired, those take a long time. If you're going to do them in one sitting, they're still going to take a long time. So I actually do like to kind of go back and forth sometimes on those, give my neck and my eyes and my body a little bit of a break, and not a real break. But anyway, so that's where we're at here with our beautiful yo-yos. And so I will come back this weekend with you and show you the full piece. And I would like to make, personally, I would like to make another one before we get to the art and craft in November. But definitely more before Christmas, because I want to give some of these away as gifts. So anyway, with that, I hope that you have an absolutely beautiful day. I thank you for being with me. You're all beautiful. Keep your passion, keep going, keep your ideas. I love them all. You're all magnificent artists. And I'll see you in the next one.